What if an attacker changes your security rules just because your code allows it? That's why tuples exist. Lists are flexible. Flexible is good, but flexible is also dangerous. Some data should never change. If data is critical, lock it. So today we are going to talk about tuples. So first of all, what is tuples? Let's say, actually we have already discussed about lists. So tuples is like list, but they use your parentheses or the round brackets, and they are immutable. It means if you like write this once, you can change it. Or you can say a tuple is just like a list but read only. Okay, so let's say we could have used some list methods to append something in the list, but in tuples, let's for example say I used admin underscore ports dot append 1000 or anything, and let's just run it. It will throw an error saying attribute error. Tuple object has no attribute dot append. So it means the tuple object attribute append like doesn't exist, means that tuple don't have any method named append. Python just saved you from breaking your own security rules. So let's see first use case. That is not cyber. That is sensitive ports. So let's take a variable named sensitive underscore ports and 21, 22, 23, 3306, and port equals to int input enter port number. If port in sensitive underscore ports, print sensitive port detected. Okay, so now let's try running our program. Actually, first let's just clear the terminal for better readability. And okay, if I enter 21, it will say sensitive port detected, and if I say 23, it will say sensitive port detected. Okay, it was also in the list, my bad. And if I say 24, there will be no data. And firewall uses this logic. Okay, so let's move on to the next use case. First, I'll comment this out. So our next use case is security roles. So for that, we will take a variable called roles, then we'll add admin, then root, super user. That's it. Then we'll use if admin in roles, and this line works like your for loops. Print high privilege role user. So what is doing is it will like keep on checking if it finds admin or no. So it will check 3 times. For example, 1, 2, and 3. But in this case, it will be true on the first word. So it will stop right here. Okay, so now if you run it, it will say high privilege user role. And if you remove this one, it won't print anything. Rules should not change at runtime. Now let's talk about looping through tuples. So let's take a variable called rules, and let's say allow underscore http and allow underscore https and block underscore ftp. Okay, so now let's say for rule in rules, print applying rule. Okay, so now it was using a variable called rule to run through rules. Like it is a for loop, so it will run through all these like words, and it will keep on printing just like this. Applying rule, allow HTTP, allow HTTPS, and block FTP. And security rules are applied, not edited. Okay, so now let's talk about some common beginner mistakes. First one is trying to append or remove. For example, what we just did here, like we try to append something in our tuple, which we cannot do, and using tuples when data must change. If your data is supposed to change, you shouldn't use tuples. If your data is supposed to change, you shouldn't use tuples. And third one is forgetting comma in a single item tuple. For example, let's write a variable called one port, and if you try to do it like this, one underscore port, and if you run it, actually just cut this last point. Okay, so now let's talk about, okay, never mind. Okay, so now let's talk about when to use tuple. Use tuples when data must not change, configuration rules, or security constants. If changing it breaks security, use a tuple. Now you know how to log data. Next, we will build real systems using dictionaries. And like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and comment secure data because we are coding like security engineers now. See you in the next one.